A year ago, this organization was buying up speedways and talking trash about taking on the France family directly. This week, they canceled their own races, froze their own series, and fired a sitting executive mid-broadcast while she was actually on a boat in the middle of a live event. This isn't a slow decline. This is a motorsports promoter running on a runway in real time, and the wreckage is spreading across every single discipline they touch. The IHRA just gutted its 2026 schedule across the board. 4 drag racing events are gone entirely. Milan, Leicester, Topeka, and Commerce all wiped from the calendar, shrinking what was supposed to be a 12-race Outlaw Nitro season down to just 3 remaining dates. Is this stop at drag strips? The organization's $2 million stock car series is frozen, with the points chase paused indefinitely. Powerboat Racing lost an entire stop, and its World Championship event is on hold with no return date. Polling and mud racing got cut from the national schedule completely. Anyone holding tickets to the canceled events is being refunded. This collapse didn't come out of nowhere. The IHRA spent the past year trying to position itself as a genuine threat to NASCAR's grip on grassroots and short track racing. The organization's owner went after NASCAR-aligned tracks directly, acquiring venues with deep ties to NASCAR's Truck Series and ARCA programming, then using them to book competing events. He launched a brand new stock car series specifically built to pull in the local late model drivers who normally feed NASCAR's weekly touring circuits. And he marketed it with language clearly aimed at painting NASCAR as corporate and out of touch. That kind of aggressive expansion costs real money. And according to reporting, the organization burned through its budget early in the season, leaving leadership scrambling to restructure with one eye already pointed toward 2027 instead of finishing out this year. Behind the scenes, the instability had already been showing. A chief operating officer was let go after flagging a broken registration system that was actively preventing drivers from signing up for the new stock car series. Then just months later, the first woman to ever lead a major U.S. motorsports sanctioning body was dismissed in the middle of a live Powerboat event with reportedly zero advance warning. Let's talk about what this actually signals, because this goes well beyond a rough schedule update. First, this is a textbook case of overexpansion outrunning revenue, acquiring multiple tracks, launching a brand new stock car series, and running national programs across drag racing, powerboats, and pulling simultaneously requires enormous sustained cash flow. When an organization burns to its budget before the season is even finished, that's not bad luck. That's a structural miscalculation in how aggressively they scaled. Second, the leadership turmoil is the bigger red flag here, arguably bigger than the schedule cuts themselves. Losing a COO who was publicly raising operational concerns, then dismissing a high-profile executive mid-event with no warning, paints a picture of an organization making reactive decisions under pressure rather than executing a stable long-term plan. Sponsors, partner tracks, and competing drivers all notice that kind of instability, and it tends to scare off exactly the kind of investment a young series needs to survive. Third, think about what this means for the athletes and teams who bought into this. Drivers who shifted commitments toward the IHRA's new stock car series now have a frozen points chase and an uncertain 2027. That's lost momentum in careers that depend heavily on consistent seat time and visibility. Is trying to challenge NASCAR's dominance smart or dangerous? The ambition itself wasn't the problem. American motorsports genuinely benefits from competition. The danger came from trying to do it across too many disciplines at once without the financial runway to back it up. That's the kind of overreach that turns a bold challenger narrative into a cautionary tale. Expect sharply divided reactions here. Fans who were excited about a true alternative to NASCAR's grassroots programming are going to be disappointed and frustrated, especially drivers and ticket holders directly impacted by the cancellations. On the other side, you'll see plenty of skepticism from longtime motorsports insiders who questioned this expansion from the start, pointing to the aggressive public rhetoric toward NASCAR as a sign the organization was writing checks its operations couldn't cash. Media coverage is likely to focus heavily on the executive turnover, especially the mid-broadcast dismissal, since stories involving sudden leadership shakeups during live events tend to dominate motorsports headlines for weeks. Best case scenario, the organization stabilizes its finances over the offseason, rebuilds trust with drivers and sponsors, and returns in 2027 with a scaled-back but sustainable schedule. The current cuts become a painful but necessary correction rather than the beginning of the end. Worst case scenario, the financial strain proves too deep to recover from, leadership instability continues, and what's left of the 2026 season becomes the final chapter for several of these disciplines under this banner, leaving acquired tracks like Rockingham and Heartland in limbo. So here's the real question. Was this an ambitious challenger that simply expanded too fast, or proof that nobody is realistically taking on NASCAR's dominance anytime soon? Drop your take in the comments. Do you think this organization survives into 2027, or is this the start of a full collapse? If you want the next update the moment more news breaks on this story, make sure you're subscribed, because this one is far from over.